Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Quiz the Music Man podcast. I'm Tony Underwood, I'm the Music Man, and we talk about all things music, music education, music careers, what's happening in the music scene, and life in general. So I've been involved in music all my life. I was a professional musician, I was a professional worship musician. Ran bands, the whole thing. Now I own a music school and write and record and market my own music. And I do this podcast. So this is a fine Saturday morning here in Central Florida, and it's beautiful weather. Ride a motorcycle, so it's great motorcycle weather. And I, what we're going to talk about a little bit today is what is the state of music with the COVID disease that we have, this is in December of 2020. The vaccine's just been announced and approved, so hopefully we can get everybody vaccinated and get this thing under control and get back to work. So what does that mean for musicians, for learning music? If you are currently taking lessons, we're still giving lessons. We try to do it as safely as we can. We limit the people inside to the students. Everyone must wear a mask at all times. When the students come in, they sanitize their hands. We keep social distance the whole time, and they sanitize when they leave, and we sanitize the area. So if you can get some lessons, if not, there's a lot of stuff online that's good for you. And we're going to start an online lesson program as well. So look into that. It's geared more toward the teens and adults. It's really specifically for people who maybe have tried lessons before or want to learn the guitar and it didn't work out. Excuse me there, I didn't mean to burp. I had a peanut butter sandwich a few minutes ago, so peanut butter gets to you. Anyway, although it's geared toward adults and older teens and things, it will work for anyone that is, say, 6, 8 and up. The younger folks might need to have some help with an adult to get through some of the material. And it's going to take you from zero to hero. I will show you exactly what you will be able to do, and I know you'll be able to do this because I'm going to stay with you until you finish the course. So if you're interested, send me a message. You can contact me at tony@theunderwoodschool.com. Go to our website, The Underwood School, and Facebook page, Instagram. You can find me if you want to. The state of music right now is we should be getting ready because we can't do too much. So this is the time to get ready to really craft your art and get it prepared. There's we've had a lot of blogs to show you how to do that. And I can give you some links and things to people to go. Go to rickbarker.com and Adam Ivy, and there's other places, but those are two ones to start with. And I think it's Musology is another one. But you can look through some of my blog posts. I'll try to put some links down before you. But we also have people that are, and this is not just musicians, who are kind of re-examining their life, and maybe people that are starting out. A lot of students, are students of ours and then go through high school and get out into the big world and kind of wonder what to do. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit, and people are always wanting to be millionaires. So first of all, what is a millionaire? And a millionaire is a person that has at least $1 million. And I have to say, if you, now with YouTube, it's kind of cool. You can look at their blogs. You see that they're not much different than all of us. And in fact, sometimes they're even worse because of what I'm going to talk about. To me, a wealthy person has a good quality of life. They have what they need. They are able to do what they like, not necessarily what they want, but what they like, because people don't know what they want. But to do what they like, and they have time, because time is the most valuable asset. So And with a lot of wealth can come some problems, like suddenly everybody wants your money, and everybody looks at you for money, and everybody just looks at you as a checkbook, and everything you've got to now keep from other people, and they'll actively try to get it. So, but nonetheless, you might want to be a millionaire. So let me give you some tips that I've seen. Really, millionaires act a little different than people that aren't millionaires. And this lady, Sarah Stanley Fallaw, Fallaw, she studied more than 600 millionaires and wrote a book, The Millionaire Next Door, Enduring Strategies for Building Wealth. So here's some of the things she found out. Millionaires spend roughly 5.5 hours a week reading for pleasure, compared to the average American's 2 hours. Now I have that might be an average of 2 hours. That's only about 10% of the population reading. The rest of us aren't reading, and me included. Most people don't know what a book is, and then they don't know how to find a book on their device either. But anyhow, millionaires read more for pleasure. They spend more time exercising, nearly 6 hours a week, compared to the average American 2.5 hours. How about that? Millionaires spend less time on social media. You're on social media, and I'm on social media. So don't get off social media, but you can tweak it a little bit. Average American spends 14 hours a week on social media, compared to the average millionaire's 2.5 hours. Wow. They make some sacrifices. They sleep 8 hours less a week than the average American. And they work more than the average American, a difference of 6 hours a week. So that's some differences in millionaires and regular people, as I like to call us. However, I will say that if you look at it a certain way, the very rich and the very poor have similar lifestyles. So in other words, the very poor really don't have many obligations, no things they have to do. And because of their money, millionaires can make it to where, and wealthy people can make it to where they don't have to do things. The very poor can spend long hours of time doing things because really nobody cares what they do. Same with the very wealthy. They can spend as much time as they want on something. And that's a key. We'll talk about that later. So how can you get ahead in just life in general and in your job and so forth? So the biggest thing that I think holds people back is interruptions. And I've looked at some statistics here. 98% of people surveyed said they were interrupted at least a few times every single day. Half of them said they were interrupted frequently. Interruptions kill our productivity, take away our focus, and so forth. Interruptions can eat up 28 billion wasted hours a year, almost 1 trillion in waste in the U.S. economy. So don't get interrupted. And that's how you really gain knowledge and do great things, is by having long times of uninterrupted time to really get into something. You don't even realize time's passing, you just stick with it. That's how you can really do some things. That's one of the things. It's good to collaborate, but you're better off being on your own and collaborating and then being on your own. And you can think about that as practicing your guitar. You might want to do long times of doing that, practicing your music, learning about a subject, going out and performing a subject. Maybe you want to do that. So how do you get ahead? Now, let's talk about the trap, the biggest trap I see, and it's doing what others want you to do. Now, of course, when you're young, you got to do what people tell you because you just don't know what's going on out there. But as you get older, you really need to start getting into a situation where you don't do what others want. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because if you will immerse yourself in the things you want to do, nothing anybody says will sway you. And that's really where you want to be. So sometimes people say, well, you're saying don't listen to your parents or your mentors. No, immerse yourself so much in that nobody can sway you. Because then you've made your decision on your own. If it's the wrong decision, you can figure it out and fix it and go on and be better for it. If it's the right decision, well, it's the right decision. Most people take advice from people who just simply don't know anything about the subject. I've had so many people say, oh, you should be a nurse. I'm like, well, who told you that? Well, my aunt. I said, well, is she a nurse? Well, no. Well, does she know any nurses? Well, no. Has she talked to any nurses? Well, no. And then sometimes say, oh, yeah, they know a nurse this time that was in that place and did these things. And I'm like, well, did they like nursing? I don't know. Did they get anything out of it? Did they get wealth or time or anything? Oh, I don't know. And I had them read some blogs that nurses wrote. And there were two kinds of nurses that loved their job and nurses that didn't. And the nurses that didn't like their job wrote about the terrible things about it. It was time consuming. You couldn't have a family. You weren't treated very well. You didn't make a lot of money. You wore yourself out physically. You couldn't do anything. It was hard to do it with kids. And then there was the nurses that said they loved their job. And then when you asked them what they didn't like about it was, takes too much time. It's always working. Nobody is considerate for you or appreciates you. You don't make a lot of money. You can't spend time with your family. You let yourself go to waste because you don't have time to work on yourself. So, and this isn't a knock against nursing. I think you could find that with everything. But to me, what that says is unless you are immersed in that and just enjoy it, you shouldn't be doing it because there's no payoff that's worth it. Now, I think if you're going to give someone advice about something, you should learn about it. What I tell people to do is to go learn about something. If you want to be a lawyer, find out a lawyer in your family, and not just one. Find out what they're doing and why if they quit, why they quit, or if they like it, why they like it. And see if you can shadow them for a day or two, or go to some different attorneys' offices, go to court, talk to attorneys, see what it's like. Do an internship, do a free, volunteer for free. So I'd love to volunteer. There's a lot. I'm sure there's a lot of attorneys' offices that do work for, those that don't have resources and the underprivileged would love to have somebody volunteer. And then you can see what it's like for yourself. And you'll know it's right for you if you don't want to quit. If you want to quit and don't like it, don't do it. No matter what anybody tells you how great it is. A lot of people are very successful at a job because they would be successful at anything because they have resources. They have money or people that support them no matter what. So what does it matter? I was in business brokerage, buying and selling businesses, and there's no such thing as a small business. 90% of the businesses out there are owned by very wealthy people or backed by very wealthy people. That's just a fact. And when you find a business where the owner has to work at it, that's not a small business. That's just a job. Now, nothing wrong with it, but your goal is to get the business to work on its own and throw off some money. So anyway, that's not a knock against small business. You should start a small business. Not a knock against people that have money. If you got money, that's great. Hope you use it because the more you use it, the more you help other people. But don't go thinking that somebody tells you something and you might be doing something just to validate other people's failures. A lot of times relatives tell you to do things. It's because they were failures. And I'm not harshing on them, but they failed and they feel bad about it. So they'll validate it by having you do it. Also, it might make them feel powerful or pump them up. Oh, my son is in the Marines, or my so-and-so is an attorney. My daughter went to medical school or whatever. Now, nothing wrong with being proud about that, but if that's the only reason, it's not very good at all. There might be, they want you to do things so they can feel powerful. They put you in your place or take credit. And it might be somebody close to you. Listen. People who are close to you, they might love you in one respect, but might be so weak and in a bad place, and that they do things that really hurt you, and you got to be careful about that. Or they'll do the old "someone else will pay for college" and all that stuff. Well, my response to that is, unless you last year, if you want someone else to pay for college, we see a lot of people that have opportunities to have their college paid for, and they pass it up. And college isn't that hard to pay for anyway, if you go about it the right way. I can let you know if you're interested to hear. I'll do a blog on that. It's easy to do it on your own, because when you go into somewhere for 20 years, that's going to be the best years of your life. You're not going to get those back, and you're going to be beholden to somebody, and you're only going to get something you could have got on your own easily anyway. We've had students that could have worked at our school while they were in high school, and probably, even if they kept $100 a week to spend, they could have built up over 4 years probably $60,000 to $100,000, and then kept doing that while they're in college. And by the time they get out another 4 years, they might have a few grand built up. And then at that point, you get a decent job and just save or invest half of what you make. Just live on half. It's not that hard, especially if you've got money built up. So anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. But when you do a bunch of stuff just to get something at the end, when you're just getting a job and you're getting money and a place to sleep, that's called prison. Now, I'm not interested in you never getting a good job or going to school, but you have to do it on your own terms. We had a person who was at a competition and was seen by somebody who works for the 2 top world recognized organizations in that competition. And they were offered an opportunity to both work for them, to be mentored by them, to guaranteed a spot in education for that organization, and to have a job afterwards. A free ride, doing something they were so good at and loved. Gave it up. Gave it up to do something else that their parents told them they wanted them to do. And I'm not going to tell you the difference, but they're basically, looking after somebody, sitting in a room all day. And they could have been out seeing the world and engaging with people that are at the top of their field and just living a beautiful life, and it's all paid for. And instead they gave it up for whatever reason. Maybe they don't have any confidence in themselves. Maybe they feel bad about themselves. Maybe they think they're a loser. And that's what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about. It's easy to retire. Retire right now. Live on half of what you make. You're wealthy. You're instantly wealthy, and you can retire. You're retired. Invest that. You can just invest that extra in some indexed funds. You can Google those. And do that for 10 years. You can probably retire. Look up Mr. Money Mustache. He has a plan that works perfect. He did it. And there are a lot of jobs that you can work at and get retirement, like the post office and a job with the city or the county or something like that, fire department, policemen, a bunch of different things. And if you're adverse to being in super danger, you can go into logistics or personnel and stuff like that. Maybe not everybody's cut out to be a cop on the beat. Well, for every cop on the beat, there's a lot of people in the office. So you can be one of them and retire and do real well for yourself. But you have to, how do you decide what to do? You have to find yourself. We've talked about doing that. Immerse yourself in things you love to do and just volunteer and just do it. And get good at it. You've seen the kid always carrying the basketball, or the kid always singing, or the kid always dancing, or playing the drums, or always building little buildings, or drawing. Immerse yourself in that stuff you like to do, and you'll find yourself there. Don't be turned away by anger, lack of confidence, depression, loss, betrayal, or somebody died or left you. That's a way of punishing ourselves. And tell yourself, would you force this on somebody that didn't want to do it? Okay? Would you force this on somebody that didn't want to do it? Well, don't do it unless it's the one thing you would do. If I were to give you $5 million and say, do whatever you want in the world, what would you do? That's what you should be doing. And you don't have to quit your job abruptly and become an actor or something. Ease into it. Take an acting class. Most people find that when they do start doing that they don't really like it, that it's not a passion. It's more of a kind of a little dream they kept in their pocket. So then what do? Then look at your life. What have you loved doing in the past and go do more of it. do different things. Just kind of try it out. Do what makes you fulfilled. It will make you money. Now, how do you live off half of your income? Downsize. Live in somebody's house. Live in a basement or a garage. Get a used car that's paid off. If you're driving a car with like monthly payments of hundreds of dollars, stop. Go get a buy here, pay here that you're going to be paid off in a year, and do it. And fix the car and keep going. Don't rent anything else. Don't rent any equipment. Buy used. Ask your family members to donate to help you out. Instead of getting stuff for Christmas, ask them for things you can use. And cut your living expenses as much as you can. Go out and get a job, a side job. I know we're stuck at home, but there's a lot of stuff at home you can do. Learn to play the guitar, learn some stuff. After you've gotten 6 months of savings, in other words, saved up 6 months of your salary, all the rest start investing in an indexed fund. That's a good start. Google indexed funds and just start investing in it. Really, like Vanguard or Fidelity, they're just top performing funds. Just start investing. Now, a caveat. It's December of 2020. I would wait 6 months before I start investing. But you're going to take you that long to build up your savings. It might take you a year. I just think things are going to, everything that's bad happens about 6 to 8 months later. So in about 6 to 8 months, it's going to be a toughie out there. So if you invest in the stock market, it might not be a payoff. Now, I'm not saying it's going to fall, but I would wait. And it'll give you a chance to save up anyway. Then you want to begin looking to scale. So if you are if you like to draw some T-shirts and put them on Teespring and sell them. Make them in your iron on your own, print them on your printer or your Cricut, cut them out and print them, iron them on, take them to places and sell. Give them away. Tell people about your T-shirts. I tell the story. I made these cats. I just cut them out of plywood, and it was a cat with his back arched and his tail up, and I painted some real red eyes on him and his fangs out, and I cut it out of plywood and put it on a little stand with a hook in the back and painted it black, and made umbrella stands. And it was hard to sell at first, so I just said, okay. So I made up 50 of them. We had a bunch of plywood left over and paint. I made up 50 of them, and I wrote up a little flyer, and I said, hi, this is a free gift. If you don't want this gift, just leave it on your porch on Friday. I'll come back and pick it up. And it's yours for free, no strings attached. All I would ask you to do is tell people about it. It had a bunch of flyers in there. This was before the social media and stuff. So I said, please tell them at your next, meeting or business meeting or church meeting or, whatever gathering, school. And I gave one and ended up being the PTA president. And I sold hundreds of those things. And I was just a kid. I was like 12 years old. I didn't know what I was doing. Cutting with a saw. But that made me enough money for the whole year. I could buy all kind of stuff with it. And ended up buying me a bike and my first vehicle that I drove. Helped with it anyway. Scale. Whatever you're doing, scale. Think about scaling stuff. You create something that gives you money over and over again. Start a YouTube channel. Start an Instagram and start doing cool things. And what do? Well, something that really piques your interest. Do something you're interested in. People will see that. Go out and do if you're a performer or whatever you do it for free, but get something out of it. Say, I'd love to work for you for free in this law office. All I'm asking you to do is write me a letter of recommendation when I leave, and put me in your newsletter. I'm going to play a gig here. Let me put up my tip jar and talk about my merchandise. Those kind of things. Get your name out there, but make sure you're getting something out of it from the beginning. And then when you feel you're ready to do something different, start charging for it. So there you have it. There's some things you can do during this crisis that will help further yourself. Don't get caught up in they're going to pay for everything for me. That's just your life is awful because you're not free to do what you want to do. Sometimes there's too much freedom. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't go to these organizations. Some people need to go. Some people should be shown the way. But I see so many people in what I do that cut themselves so short, and they do it to spite other people, but that's like, taking poison, thinking it's going to hurt the other person. That's my definition of anger. And don't worry, I've done all these things wrong over and over again. I continue to. It's just how it is, but you do try to do better and make your life better. So I hope this answers some questions and gets you thinking. If you have any questions or want me to do something different, shoot me a message. I'd be happy to hear from you. I'd love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and my podcast, and go listen to my music, Tony Underwood Music. It's everywhere music is. And I got a YouTube channel with a lot of covers and Instagram and everything. Connect with you. And I'm small enough here, nobody really listens to me right now, so I'd love to hear from you, and I can talk to you and connect with you individually. So have yourself a great week. Be safe, but get something done. Go learn something. Go immerse yourself. Go have a little fun. Connect with your family. You can always pick up the phone and call them. If you don't have to, can't go see them. So thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.